For 2 years, we were friends.
And then we started talking about maybe being more than friends.
Then he told me we would never be anything but friends.
And this week on Love Ed with Julie and MJ, we find out how Julie simply could not take no for an answer. I told her we've always been great friends. Let's just leave it at that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But she continued to beg, plead.
Do you guys believe that? Yeah, no one's going to believe that. What really happened was I asked him out to pizza, and while he was sitting there eating his favorite food, I calmly explained to him how, as far as I was concerned, the future was still open for us. There were all kinds of possibilities of where our relationship could go, and I didn't want to rule any of them out.
And I sat there kind of dumbfounded because, I wish we could have had it on videotape, which would have required a cameraman back then, because that's how big video cameras were. You got it slung over your shoulder like some sort of a bazooka. But honestly, she presented this information like it was a business meeting. Yes, I was reviewing the notes from our last DTR talk, and I was just and there was no pressure on me like, wow, this girl really wants to be with me, and there wasn't even like, wow, if I asked her to be my girlfriend, she'd say yes. No, it was just like, here's the dealio. Just wanted you to know that I don't really know where our relationship is headed. So essentially, Julie, she did what I basically didn't have the cojones to do. With my DTR talk, I chose to be safe. With hers, she chose to be honest. With mine, I chose a defensive posture. Oh, I got hurt by this girl. I don't get hurt by this girl. Hers, she chose a vulnerable posture. I was willing to settle, and she told me she was willing to risk.
Well, and you got to know that was God's wisdom, because I wasn't that smart on my own. But, well, doctors Beverly and Tom Rogers actually have put a name or a title on the kind of relationship that Mike and I were about to get stuck in.
Surrogate soulmates.
Yeah, and a surrogate soulmate is basically a guy-girl relationship where you have the same intimacy and emotional, relational vulnerability that a married couple or engaged or seriously dating couple have, but you're just friends. You're not a couple.
And we're not suggesting that you can't be good friends with the members of the opposite sex. We actually,
Right.
I hope you know that
Right.
from watching these, we encourage that. That's a great way to prepare for marriage. It's a great way to relate to people of the opposite sex if you never get married.
Half of the population.
But there is, just in the same way that there's a limit to the physical contact that's healthy between you and someone who's not your spouse, there is also a limit to the depth of emotional intimacy you share with someone of the opposite sex who isn't your spouse. Think about it this way. Imagine you're married. Now consider your closest opposite sex friendship. Do you think your spouse, after marriage, will be okay with you continuing in that emotional, relational intimacy with that other person?
Or think about it the other way. Would you be okay if your spouse had that close of a relationship with someone of the opposite sex?
You know, you may be thinking still, hey, dudes, I don't know if you know this, I'm not married. So what's the big deal? The big deal is this: relational patterns are intensely difficult to break. If you tried to break one, you know. For me, before Julie and I started dating seriously, which we finally did, we'll get to that next week. The way I related to girls I thought were pretty was to flirt. If I thought you were pretty, I flirted with you. If you flirted back, I flirted more. If you didn't flirt back, I flirted more.
Still flirted.
Then Julie and I start dating seriously, and I didn't know how to relate to girls that I thought were attractive because it was ingrained in me. The same thing can happen with this surrogate soulmate pattern if you go from relationship to relationship like that with no commitment. And life is just too short for you to invest all that emotional intimacy into a exclusive relationship with someone who's clearly not really interested in an exclusive commitment that might lead to marriage.
Yeah. Your soul is precious. It's priceless. And that's why we encourage you to really develop those deep, intimate relationships with healthy family members or with same-gender friends where romantic or sexual tensions aren't going to be a part of it.
So Julie called me out. Our friendship had gone far enough without the commitment level increasing. It was my move, my turn, my chance. What would I do?
Find out next week on Love Ed with Julie and MJ.